So the Greater Bay Area, you've probably heard the pitch, 11 cities, 86 million people, a GDP larger than most countries in Europe, and the stated ambition of becoming a globally competitive technology and financial hub by 2035. Bigger than the San Francisco Bay Area, bigger than Tokyo, one integrated economic zone. So imagine you're a foreign company, you've decided you want a foothold in the zone, and you talk to your advisors, and then you find out 3 currencies, 3 legal systems, 3 sets of customs tariffs. And within just one of those cities, Guangzhou, district by district regulatory competition, each one with its own incentive package, its own rules, its own pitch for your investments. That is what we're talking about today, not the slogan, the reality on the ground. And there's nobody better placed to break this down than my guest, who's been practicing law in Hong Kong for years, advising international clients navigating exactly this complexity. Maeva Slotine is a lawyer based in Hong Kong, founder of Slotine Law Firm, and one of the Legalmondo's key partners in the region. She advises international companies entering Hong Kong and looking across the border into mainland China and the Greater Bay Area. Maeva, welcome.
Thank you, Roberto. Happy to be here.
So before we dive in, when clients come to you asking about the Greater Bay Area, what's usually the very first thing they get wrong?
They assume it's one place. Legally, commercially, operationally, one place. And the moment you start explaining that it's actually 3 jurisdictions sitting inside a single national project, which with each city competing for the same pool of foreign investors, that's usually when people start listening.
I see. So let's start from the basics, because I think a lot of our listeners, whether they're lawyers, entrepreneurs, or managers, have heard the term, but don't have a clear mental map. Can you set the scene?
Sure. The Greater Bay Area, the GBA, is an initiative launched by Beijing in 2019 to integrate 11 cities in southern China into a single economic zone. You have Hong Kong, Macau, and 9 cities in Guangdong province: Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Shuhai, Foshan, Heizhou, Dongguan, Zhongshan, Xiamen, and Shaoxing. The stated ambition is to rival the Yangtze River Delta, Shanghai and its surrounding cities, and to position the zone as a global hub for technology, finance, and innovation by 2035.
Which is a remarkable ambition. And the reality?
The reality is that this zone operates under one country, 2 systems, or more precisely, 3 different legal systems. Hong Kong has its own common law system, its own currency, its own customs, its own regulatory framework. Macau also has its own framework too, civil law rooted in the Portuguese tradition, its own currency, its own rules. And the 9 Guangdong cities operate under Mainland Chinese law, which is civil law on the PRC model, a unified national framework and one currency, the renminbi.
That looks quite complex. So when a business comes to you and says, we want to expand into the GBA, what's the first practical question you ask them?
Well, I ask, which rule book do you want to operate under? Because that decision, where to set up, where to incorporate, where to hold assets, has consequences that will follow you for years. The GBA is not a single destination, it's a menu. And if you order without reading it, you end up with the wrong jurisdiction.
I see. So let's talk about the menu then. Within the Guangdong cities alone, there are 3 major spatial zones: 3 flagship areas specifically designed to attract international investment. Can you walk us through them?
Yes. The three main ones are Nansha in Guangzhou, Shanghai in Shenzhen, and Hengqin in Shuhai. Each one has a distinct identity, a distinct target industry, and a distinct relationship with Hong Kong and Macau.
Okay, so why don't we start with Nansha?
Nansha is the geographic center of the GBA. It sits almost equidistant between Hong Kong and Macau and the Guangdong cities. It's been positioned as a hub for advanced manufacturing, shipping and logistics, financial services, and healthcare. Within Nansha itself, there are 7 functional subzones, each with its own focus area, 60 square kilometers designed to bridge the mainland and the two souths.
So, investors question, if I'm a European manufacturing company looking for a production base in the GBA, Nansha would be where I'd be looking.
Nansha would be on your shortlist. Yes, particularly if you need logistics, access, and you want to benefit from Hong Kong's financial infrastructure without being fully onshore in Hong Kong.
Okay, I see. What about Shanghai?
Shanghai is in Shenzhen, right next to Hong Kong. And it's been explicitly designed for finance and professional services, the most Hong Kong adjacent zone in terms of orientation and incentive design, built to attract firms with existing Hong Kong connections who want a mainland foothold without moving too far from what they already know.
So, if I'm a financial services firm or a professional services business already in Hong Kong and thinking about a Shenzhen presence,
Shanghai, that's your conversation. The incentive packages, the regulatory streamlining, the proximity, it's been built exactly for that profile.
okay. And the third, Hengqin.
Hengqin is a Macau zone. In Zhuhai, physically adjacent to Macau, completely different focus. Tourism, leisure, the Portuguese-speaking markets, Macau, historic bridge to Latin America and Africa, and offshore fund investment with relatively low entry barriers.
Okay. So 3 zones, each with its own incentive package, each competing for the same pool of international investors, I take it.
Exactly. That is not integration in the sense of a single unified offer. It's managed competition, 3 different value propositions with a single national project. The central government sets the direction and the local governments design their pitch.
Okay, that's good to know, and it's a completely different model from anything we see in Europe, in the EU. You have a regional variation, different tax regimes, different incentives, but this level of deliberate regulatory differentiation within a single economic zone is something else entirely. So let's go one level deeper. Within Guangzhou alone, it goes further than that, doesn't it?
It does. Nansha is a flagship zone in Guangzhou. It gets most of the attention, but Guangzhou has multiple districts. And each district has developed its own regulatory environment to attract specific industries. Take Huangpu. It hosts the Guangzhou International Biotechnology Island, which is a dedicated zone for biotech and life science, with its own incentive regime, its own approval processes, entirely separate from Nansha's framework. You can be in the same city, a few kilometers apart, and operate under materially different rules.
I see, and this pattern repeats.
Across the board, a pharmaceutical company, a logistics firm, and a fintech startup could all locate in Guangzhou, and each of them would find a district that has specifically designed its regime to attract them. The rules are not just different, they are designed to be different. That's the key word, design.
Okay, in Italy or in most of the EU, you might have regional incentives and development zones, areas with specific tax benefits. But this district by district regulatory competition within a single city is not something we encounter around here.
No, and the implication for international businesses is significant. You can't rely on a general understanding of mainland Chinese law when you're deciding where to set up in the GBA. You need to understand which district wants your industry and what it's prepared to offer today to get it.
Okay, and then those rules change, I imagine.
They change, sometimes significantly and relatively quickly. The Hanshin zone has been restructured more than once since it was formally launched. Shanghai expanded substantially in 2021. The regulatory landscape is dynamic.
I see. So that makes due diligence much more complex, I guess, and much more, let's say, ongoing.
Ongoing, yes, exactly the right word. This is not a one-time exercise. A company that did its location analysis, say, in 2021, may be working with outdated assumptions today. The zones themselves have evolved, the incentive packages have changed, and the regulatory frameworks have been updated.
Okay. So is there an overarching coordination mechanism? Is there someone, a body or an authority that ensures coherence across all these zones?
There is a GBA steering committee at the national level, and also the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area Development Office in Hong Kong that coordinates from the south side. But in practice, the coordination is strategic, like direction setting, not operational. Each city, each district, each zone retains a significant degree of autonomy over how it competes for investment. That autonomy is part of the design.
I see. So let me draw some takeaways. I would say 3 points. First, the GBA is not a single jurisdiction, as some might think. It's a multi-system zone with 3 legal frameworks, 3 currencies, and 3 sets of customs rules. So the pitch is integration. The reality is a bit different. It's a managed complexity. So know the difference before you start planning would be the advice to those who might be looking to invest in the area. Second point would be that your location decision in the GBA is a legal and regulatory decision, not just a real estate or operational one. And we've seen Nansha, Shanghai, Hanshin are not interchangeable. And so the right zone can mean preferential tax, streamlined licensing, and market access. The wrong choice means operating under the default mainland regime without the benefits. So this is important. And third, this is not static, as it is often in China. The rules change, the zones evolve, and what was true in 2021 may not be true today. If you're doing serious planning for the GBA, you need current local on-the-ground advice. Maeva, from your practice, is there one thing you wish every international client knew before they walked into your office?
That I've done business in China before does not mean you understand the GBA. The clients who do well are the ones who ask the right questions early, before they've committed to a structure, before they have signed a term sheet, before they've announced their expansion. Come in early, understand the menu, then make your choice.
I see. So Maeva, thank you. For anyone who wants to go deeper on the GBA, on Hong Kong, on cross-border structuring in this part of the world, you can find Maeva on the legalmondo.com website, where she's one of our specialist lawyers for Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area. And speaking of Hong Kong and the mainland, next time we're going to talk about what one country, two systems actually means in practice today. Now the political slogan, the concrete daily consequences, what you pay for a bottle of wine, which court settles your dispute, how your company is taxed, and so on and so forth. Because the two systems are not abstract, and for any business with ambitions in China, understanding both is competitive advantage. So if this conversation gave you something useful, share it. And as always, someone in your network was about to make exactly the decision we talked about today with Maeva. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And Maeva, thanks for your time. And I'll be seeing you soon to continue our conversation.
Thank you, Roberto.
Thank you, Maeva. Bye-bye.